Listen to me, motherfucker. I'm talking. I say horrible things sometimes because I think they're funny. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. I'm responsible for this whole goddamn thing. I want a little respect from you people. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. How are you folks? I'm good. Episode 6, Year 3. Let me make a solemn promise to you folks right now. Let me lay this on the line. Let me tell you something that you can trust in. Let me tell you something you can take to the bank a la Beretta/Robert fucking Blake. This show will not last an hour and 48 minutes. Oh, my Christ, last week was long. And I listened back to it, and again, in the middle of it, I got in my own brain, and then you folks were kind enough to try to send in a search party and pull me out of my own head, which was cool. Thanks. But just know that I'm consistently getting lost in there because I have no friends. Again, I am a mental patient who's on the loose. I don't, it's like I would imagine, you know who I am? I'm that kid at the end of St. Elsewhere, and it turned out everything was in that snow globe or whatever the fuck was going on. That's me. My whole world is I'm an autistic guy, and everything that happens to me is self-contained. It's all isolated. None of you exist. None of you are real. You're all figments of my imagination. I've completely imagined that I have anywhere from 3,500 to 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people a week downloading my show. Some of those numbers are wrong. It all depends on what band I've got sitting in that week. That will change the numbers. The Rock Sugar Band, they did a show. They were in Elgin, Illinois, the show that everybody's been talking about in Elgin, Illinois. They flew me out in their private jet. We had a lot of fun. And are you kidding me? Absolutely not. I lost those guys the second they walked out of Lily's apartment. And that's a complete lie because I will tell you this. Just this past week, it was 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 10 days ago, a package came to my house. And it was a nice brown, bubble wrap type envelope. And I opened it up, and it was Harem Scarem's Greatest Hits, a gift from Jesse Harnell from Rock Sugar. He went ahead and, because he had been taunting me like via email going, hey man, because again, I have to read all their emails in his voice because he's like the most positive guy I've ever met or known in my life. Seriously, he and Chuck could not have been more positive or fun or cool. And it's so funny, I actually made myself stop talking about them because I look like such a horrible fanboy. And it was probably very hard to understand me on the show with their nuts in my mouth. I'm sure that probably didn't make me very clear, let you hear me. But I couldn't help it. I was so overwhelmed by their positivity and how cool they were. I mean, it just was great. So Jess would send me emails, and he'd be like, hey, brother, I haven't forgotten about you. Going to get you that Harem Scarem CD. It's on the way. All right, dude, rock on, Jess. And by the way, it is like that because he uses no punctuation whatsoever in any of his emails. I don't know. I have no idea how this happened, right? I know texting has destroyed America because it makes people think that the number 2 can substitute for the word to. It can't. Stop doing that. You're not Prince. Only Prince can text like that. I mean, I don't know who you think you are. Why do you think that you're Prince? You're not. Stop being Prince because his name is Prince. And he is funky. Not you. Your name is not Prince. You are not funky. So please, type out T.O. How much time are you actually saving by typing out the number 2, you fuck? All right. So Jess sends me emails, and he uses no punctuation at all. Like it's this random collection of letters. It looks like someone spilled a Scrabble game. I mean, it's like so crazy reading his emails, but he doesn't have to use punctuation. He's a rock star. Again, rock stars can do whatever the fuck they want, folks, so they don't have to use punctuation. So I still have not listened to the greatest hits of Harem Scarem. And then, funnily enough, Carl Shaw wrote me on Facebook, and here's what Carl Shaw writes me. Again, Carl Shaw wrote me to tell me he wasn't in a ditch and dying and all those things. Carl Shaw is the guy who led me to discover Rock Sugar. He referred them to me. He's the patient zero of Rock Sugar for me. So, and that's a reference I use too much. As a matter of fact, I just wrote it's funny. I had to write. I had to try to get a job with a show. I can't tell you who or what, but they needed me to write a packet, and it was a bunch of like fake sports stories that I had to write. And one of them I wrote was former Major League Baseball pitcher David Cone found to be patient zero of athlete's taint, and it was. a story about how they had discovered a new strain of STD that was common only among athletes, and the patient zero of it was David Cohn. I am fascinated by the concept of patient zero. Anything with a zero. I love zero. When I was a kid, there was a guy named Kenny Burrow who played for the Houston Oilers. He was a wide receiver. He wore 00. I fucking loved it. I was like, dude, if I ever played in a sport, I would be 00. It's the greatest number. To pick 00, you're a fucking genius. The only thing better than 00 would just be zero. Gilbert Arenas, fucking Agent Zero, wears zero. God damn, that's awesome. His nickname is Agent Zero? How great is that? And then he fucking pulls a gun and shoots a guy. God damn it. Why, Gilbert? You're Agent Zero. You didn't need to shoot anybody. He didn't really shoot them. He put guns on a stool and told the guy to make a choice. That's my favorite thing. The story, if a guy shoots a guy in the locker room, that's a straight ahead story. But when a guy... They have a fight about a card game on the plane, and then they pull guns in the locker room. They have like a Mexican standoff in the locker. I mean, it's just, those stories are ridiculous. I wish he would have just shot him. No, fuck that. I like chaos. I like crazy stories. I'm all for Agent Zero putting guns on a chair with a sign that says pick one. What the fuck is that? What cartoon do you live in, Agent Zero? But that's the problem. Athletes live in a cartoon. They don't know what's going on in real life. And they're like rock stars. They don't use punctuation either. Athletes and rock stars do not use punctuation. They don't need to. But you normal person out there, lawyer or ditch digger or I don't know, bellman, use punctuation. God damn it! Stop texting when you're not supposed to be texting. All right, how did that get started? I don't remember. I was saying the show wouldn't be as long as it was last week, which, as we all know by my riff about punctuation, God knows that's going to do everything it can to shorten the fucking show. I should just speak in shorthand. You know what? I should just do a show where I say the first letter of every word that I'm going to say, and you guys got to figure out what the fuck the content was going to be. ABARRLLRR. See, but that's hard. LLL. What 3 words would be LLL in a row? Let's look linward. No, inward's a word, not linward. Let's look left. Let's look left. And there's a lamp with fringe. All right. Sadly, though, no matter what direction I look in this building, it would be a lamp with fringe. And by the way, let's commend our friend Lily Von Stupp. She's right here. That's my friend, the producer, Lily Von Stupp. You can hear her laughing in the background. Kindly, she's working the knobs, and yes, that's what she's often working the knobs here in her building. But her house looks great. I mean, it's getting there. You know, she's moving stuff around, and she's got, again, because she cramps, you know, she's making sausage. Like, you know, she gets a sausage casing, and then she fills it with double meat. I mean, she shouldn't do that. God, this is all weirdly sexual. But she takes 3 apartments worth of stuff and puts it into one apartment, and then winnows it down and tries to sort it out. And it's funny, I'll always know that she's making progress when I pull up, and there are hobos outside wearing feather boas. I'm like, oh. Well, apparently someone had either just a yard sale or a giveaway, and she was just launching them outside. And then these old crusty sea captains went ahead and said, hey, I could use a sequin hat. Boom, pop it on. 1. Singular sensation, even though I sleep in my own urine. But her house is making progress. Soon I will film in this house, and you will see, folks, what is happening. I am. That's right. I'm going to film in here. I'm going to film you. I'm no longer, folks, because I had a YouTube channel, and that seemed like a good idea for about 5 weeks. That's long. It seemed like a good idea for 2 weeks, but I kept it going for like 8 weeks. And so again, with the precipitous drop in viewership, to where I think the last one, literally, it was just me and you who watched it because we put it just to make sure it had loaded correctly. There's a viewer count of 2 because we wanted to make sure that it had loaded correctly, and that was it. Everybody else, like, I actually clicked play, and there is no sound to the YouTube has substituted they have a sad noise, and you just see a tumbleweed just bounce by my head. But now eventually we'll revive that, right? Because it was such a great idea, people loved it. That was the whole point of that was why when I was doing the one man, I'm like, people are coming along with the one man, and then we'll get them to look behind the scenes and stuff like that. And nobody wants to look behind the scenes. Well, actually they do. Again, because people were very nice and they submitted their stuff. Folks, there's a one man show, and I'll get to that a little later. We'll talk about it because there's something I'm going to bring up. How's that for a cliffhanger, folks? There's something I'm going to bring up. You guys know. All right. So let me ask you this, folks, since we're talking about how long the show is going to be and all that stuff. I need to make sure, are you folks legal to be in this country and listen to the show? I just need to make sure. Hold on, my ear just went out. Seriously, I just lost my right ear. Can we, is that going to be a fast fix, or should we stop down? What's happening? Now I've lost both my ears. Hold on. What's happening? That's not good. I can't hear me. I'm still talking, but is it recording while I'm doing this? All right, well, because I don't know. All right, I'm so stupid. I don't know. Like, look, the ears and I don't know if the mouth part is attached to the ear part, if it all just went out, or if I can't hear me, or they can't hear me. And why am I still talking? If they can't even hear me, why the fuck would I even bother be talking? I'm an idiot, folks. I should be saving this. This is gold. You're recording, right? Is it still recording? Oh God. All right, my ears are back. They're back. That was scary. I don't want to lose. Because all right, here's why. Here's how dumb I am. Because I think again, I'm again the right ear's going right now. Just letting you know. I got to shake these, folks. Hold on. It's here. It's not up there. Folks, you might realize that it's very difficult work to bring you this show, and it's made even more difficult by my nonsense. Hold on. Now, when you unplugged me, could they still hear me there if I talked?
Yes.
I don't know how electronics work. Why do you look at me like I'm crazy? Why do you think you're just here to laugh at jokes? No, you're here to do this kind of stuff, folks. Headphone. Yes, I see. There's tape on there. But it's out. The right is out. Folks, so again, I apologize for getting distracted there. Remember how I said the show wouldn't be that long? I didn't anticipate that there would be the headphone holocaust, and I would have to fucking deal with it. That's terrible. All right. Hey, there it is. I'm back.
Okay.
All right. You guys can hear me okay? Of course you can. Well, you could hear me before, but if I couldn't hear me, if I can't hear me, I figure you can't hear me, right? Doesn't that just seems to make sense? Again, I lost it. Motherfucker. You know what? Remember that pen I threw? Yeah. I'm gonna throw these motherfucking headphones. What happened? This is gonna suck if we wind up losing these, right? Well, how much are these?
300.
Yeah, these are $300. I'm gonna have to invest $300 in headphones, folks, and that's gonna be bad. Oh, I'm back. There, I'm back.
Right.
Jesus Christ. You know what? Hey, this show's not gonna be an hour and 48 minutes. No, it's not. It's gonna be an hour, except 48 minutes. It is me gonna be panicking over a goddamn microphone and headphone. What the? Can't hear me. Oh, I can hear me now. Can't hear me. It's a goddamn Verizon commercial, an hour-long Verizon commercial. Can you hear me? I can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Fucking shut up. I need a hard hat and glasses like that asshole in the commercials. That's what I need. All right. Hi, folks. I'm Mike Schmidt. This is a podcast. And you know, it's important to me to have good sound for you folks. It's important to me that this sounds, because I don't want to half-ass anything. I don't want to be that guy. I have people. I've done shows that might have a little sound problem. And I've teased Paul about it. Paul Goebel. Paul sounds like he's doing his show from the bottom of the well in Jamie Gum's basement. You know what I mean? It's like I keep waiting for him to catch Precious in a fucking bucket and feed her half a chicken bone. You know what I mean? My guest tonight is put the lotion in the fucking basket. All right. That was my Jamie Gum, folks. How'd you like that? Was that good? It places the lotion on its skin. It does this whenever it's told. All right. God damn, it's the greatest. Put it in the fucking basket. Oh, wait. Is she a great big fat person? God damn it. Mex does it better than me. Mex does good voices. I don't know if you're aware of David Hernandez. I lost it. There. All right, hold on. God damn it. I'm getting punished, folks. This is what happens. I'm going to have to just do a show with no right ear. This is what I'm going to have to do. Folks. All right, now it's intermittent. You know what? Because all right, let me tell you something, folks. I don't just have tinnitus. I have super tinnitus. It's a self-diagnosis. It sounds to me at all times as if I have a phone in my ear. There's this, you know that noise? Old people will know what I'm talking about. When you turn your TV on, and before it would come on in the old days, you would hear this, like this really high-pitched noise. I have that in my ear at all times. I'm the Pete Townsend of podcasting. I have completely ruined my head. So now, because of the years of having earbuds jammed all the way in, because again, that was we all know about my history of having candles in my ears. I don't do well with the ears because when I was a child, I had a perforated eardrum, and so now I'm hesitant to put anything in my ear to clean anything out. It always turns into a circus, which is fitting and appropriate because when I pull stuff out of my ear, it looks like the many rags a clown will pull out of his mouth. I'll pull out a paper mache chain that comes out of my ear. So now I'm always freaked out about my ears. So because of that, I would always have my ears are like completely packed full of wax. So I will jam my earbuds in as far as they will go to the point where almost to where they meet in the middle. Like I will push them in as far as my fingers will let me put them, so they're actually meeting in the middle and playing songs directly into my brain. I bypass my eardrum and just fucking have it inside my head. It's as if you were to have like a radio transmitter in your tooth and you just constantly heard music in your head. That's how I do it with my earbuds. I just jam them as far as I can into my fucking ears. Well, now, due to the many years of overcompensating for that and having the volume turned all the way up, now I have this really heavy ringing in my ears all the time. And I'm not going to lie to you, it scares the shit out of me. Because I'm 42 and it's like, my body's, the shit I've done on my body is that's on me. Well, I guess what I did in my ears is on me too, really. I can't blame that on anybody. Who the fuck am I going to blame? Guns N' Roses? Hey, you cocksuckers with your fun music that I enjoyed and I liked turning up loudly to compensate for my fucking life and I wanted to scream the lyrics out when horrible things happen to me? Stupid. So now I wear headsets. When I do this show, I have a headset. It's an actual set of cans headsets with a microphone in the front. It's fancy. And I'm not going to lie to you, very fancy. Because other shows I've done, I've just talked into a microphone. But then the first time I did this with Lily and I got to wear a headset, it was like a revelation because I can hear myself talking and I was so happy. Believe me, because I am never more happy than when I'm hearing myself talking. I can tell you, believe me, I can vouch for that. There is never a happier time in my life than when I can hear my own voice clearly booming through my head. All right, that is very important to me. That's why I have no friends, because I don't need any. I'm me. I like me. God, I love me. I love me some me. I was pissed that Terrell Owens said that, because I used to say that. I love me some me. And then Terrell Owens said, everybody's like, oh, Terrell Owens, way to think that up. He didn't think that up. I did, goddammit. All right. So, yeah, what was I getting at before we had the headphone holocaust? Legal. Yeah, I want to make sure people are legal listening to this podcast, because I'm sure you all know about the situation in Arizona, a situation that I tackled in year one.
Yes.
When I was way ahead of the curve on this Arizona nonsense, folks. And I can tell you back then, there were some people from Arizona who weren't happy with me. Well, I can tell you that I've made more people angry in the past week. Here's how. Last week, if you're not on my email list, first of all, you should be. Send me an email at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com and I will harvest your address and immediately put it on my ever-growing mailing list. Because then you will get every Wednesday night / Thursday morning a fun note from me telling you that the show is ready. And boy, if you like me talking, you will love me typing. Again, like I said, go see if your eyes like me as much as your ears do. So go ahead and sign up for the mailing list. But last week on the mailing list, in the note that I wrote, I wrote something along the lines of, I wrote suspicious Arizonans is who I addressed it to. Because every week, folks, I have a little fun with the addressee. So it was suspicious Arizonans. And it said, new episode of The 40-Year-Old Boy, now hoping that everybody in Arizona has their papers squared away. And not knowing how to feel about what happened in Arizona. And then I wrote, I said, all right, hear me out. You guys know that I'm kidding, right? All right, good. I'm glad you do. Because I can tell you some other people do not. Here's what I wrote, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't tell you exactly what I wrote because you need to get in the mailing list if you want to know exactly what I wrote. Folks, again, these are private missives for people on the mailing list. I can't possibly break their confidence by giving you exactly what I wrote because you got to get on the list. But what I wrote was the 40-year-old boy now confused about the situation in Arizona. And I said, while I feel that people who are in this country illegally should have to follow the law just like everybody else, I'm a fan of chaos. So the vague idea of Mexican death squads wreaking havoc in Arizona seems appealing to me. I said, especially now that my grandmother has moved out of town. And then I wrote, by the way, if my grandmother was still there, these Mexicans would have quite a fight. Tough Irish woman, my grandma. So I wrote that in my email. Now, folks, I'm joking about Mexican death squads. And not only that, but about the because I did hear that. Okay, I mean, there was a kernel of truth to that. All these wild rumors started on the internet once this thing happened, where they were saying that Mexican death squads were going to come over the border and start hitting the border patrol and Americans around the border to send a message or whatever. I don't know what their message is. Let us in, I guess would be their message. And I love the idea that the Mexican death squads, that's their idea. They're like, you know what, fuck this. Let's just be Mexican death squads and charge in there and start killing everybody. Hey, couldn't we go through the proper channels and get the paperwork and just move to that country? No, fuck that. Let's load up 40 of us into a goddamn SUV and go across the border guns blazing. That's going to get our point across. You dicks. So that was true. I read that on the internet that was possible. And let's put it this way. It's not true. Okay, no, there's a kernel of truth to the fact that people said there vaguely might be an idea of what if somehow the Mexicans decided to form death squads, okay? So I'm not saying that it's true that there are Mexican death squads. I'm saying it's true that I read on the internet some people were fretting about the idea of Mexican death squads, okay? Don't think that I think that there are Mexican death squads out there. Although, again, as a fan of chaos, The idea of Mexican death squads appeals to me in a way that I can't explain. All right. As would Polish death squads or Canadian death squads. I wish Canadian death squads would come over the border from the north. That would be great. If they were just to charge into Maine and start stealing syrup. That's what I want. That's what we need. You know what? We're all scared of Mexico. It's the Canadians lurking up north. That's what we've got to be fucking scared of. Forming their Canadian death squads and tobogganing over our borders. Shooting our moose. Do we have moose? They have all the moose, right? Canada has all the moose. I don't know what's happening, but we need to worry about them too, folks. We're surrounded on all sides. We got to worry about Hawaiian death squads paddling over here, 6 to a kayak. Cuban death squads floating over here on a garbage boat. They can come from anywhere. Death squads can come from anywhere. Fuck, I got to be honest with you. Reading what's going on, we need to be worried about, upstate New York death squads. I just love the idea of a death squad. I think it's great. I'm sorry, as long as I'm not caught up in the maelstrom, of course. But, let's be honest, I like the idea of a death squad with, like, matching uniforms and, like, death's head boots and all that kind of stuff. And then they come into the country, and then, like, just say they break some windows and they leave. That would be fine. I don't want anybody to get hurt, folks. I'm not really rooting for anybody to get hurt. So now we have an idea of where I'm coming from. Yes? Maybe we don't. But suffice to say, in last week's email, I wrote that about how I liked the idea of Mexican death squads wreaking havoc in Arizona. As a fan of chaos, it appealed to me. You know who that idea does not appeal to? Listeners in Arizona who were not happy. And these are people who like me because they're on my mailing list. So that means these are people who've listened to the show. And these are people who should know better, quite frankly, than to think that I'm serious about wanting Mexican death squads to wreak havoc in Arizona. But I think those people in Arizona are a little touchy at this point. They're a little freaked out because, not all of them have decided that immigrants are bad. But unfortunately, the right people have, and so now it's a law down there. And look, I'm not getting into whether it's bad, whether it's good, whether they're stopping people, because we all know it's bad, right? I don't need to get into whether it's bad or good. And, hold on. I clapped my hand and lost my right ear. Hold on, it's back. All right, good. You know what? I'm having oral death squads right now. AURAL. I have headphone death squads lurking in my right ear. So last week when I sent out that email, I thought it was harmless and funny. I thought people would understand that I was kidding because, I mean, we're talking about a guy who on his show has talked about hiring a Mexican guy to repeat the whole show in Spanish and then marketing it as the El Muchacho de dos 40 años. I mean, like, I'm ludicrous. I'm a fucking idiot. We know this, right? I'm a guy who I talked about, like, using my powers to be a huckster and convincing you people to follow me and we could, whatever. I don't know. So I'm the verbal hail bop. That's what I am. I'm the hail bop comet guy. I want you in your Nikes and your sweatsuits, and then we'll all listen to me, and then we'll all die. I don't want to die. That's another thing. Last week, all right, so I should tell you this. I got 6 people who unsubscribed from my mailing list. One of them, the first one that came, this is when I first knew that there was a trouble. The first thing I got was just in block letters, unsubscribe. That's what it said in the email. And then I opened it up, and it just said, unsubscribe again. They were so angry they typed it twice. And I was like, all right, well, that's weird. Why? Because this person has been on my mailing list since 2008. So I was like, all right, well, I'll unsubscribe them. And I sent them a note. I said, you've been unsubscribed. Then later that day, I got a note, and it said, hey, smartass. That's what it said in the email. And I opened it up, and it was a guy. And again, I'll paraphrase because you don't need to know my private correspondence. But basically, he was asking me, where do I get off, hoping that people die in Arizona? I'm like, take me off your fucking mailing list. I don't know who you think you are. You can make jokes, but, these are real people's lives and real issues and blah, 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 blah. And quite frankly, at that point, I figured he was spinning the propeller on his hat, and I stopped reading. I mean, don't you know I'm kidding? What the fuck? I mean, seriously. So I wrote him back, and I was like, and again, I never, when people write me angry emails or whatever, when they're mad, I don't ever apologize because I don't see the reason to apologize. I was goofing around. That's the whole point. And I tell Karen this all the time. We get into a discussion where I reserve the right to make fun of anything. I mean, anything in the world I can make fun of. Do some things make me feel inordinately bad, and I don't find them funny as targets? Yeah, like I don't find learning disabled people very funny because, quite frankly, You can laugh all you want. That's fine.
It's just the way you say it. I don't find them very funny.
I don't. They don't amuse me. You know why? Their circumstance doesn't amuse me. I mean, fuck, let's be honest. Retards are hilarious. But I mean, but I don't find them. I can't make fun of them. I don't because it's an easy thing to do, and they make me cry. I want to cry when I see that. I feel so anything dad issues. Anything because all I can do is talk. All I can do is verbally express myself. So when I see somebody who can't do that, it makes me so horribly sad because I think that I immediately put myself in their place. Because again, folks, I'm good at scaring myself. I put myself. Like when I'm in the dark, I immediately think there's a monster in there. I mean, my mind goes right to the crazy thing. So when I see a person who's, who's kind of retarded or learning disabled, or Down syndrome, I feel so awful because I feel what a struggle it must be for them to try to get through their daily life. How terrible that is. So that's that. That doesn't appeal to me as funny. But if you want to make fun of it, go right ahead. I don't care because again, I feel everything is fucking fair game. Everything in the world should be made fun of. There are no sacred cows whatsoever. If I want to come out here and I want to say that Jesus gave a baby AIDS, then you should be able to understand that I'm kidding. Because there's absolutely no way a baby could have sex with a fictional figure. All right, so see again, I did it there to try and make you upset. That's what I did. It's just silliness. You get that, right? Yes, you do. You know who does it? 6 people from Arizona. Because after that guy blew dry me with a paragraph, then I got like sporadic over the next couple days, just like, who do you think you are? This is a real issue here in Arizona. And just like, dude, I'm not Tim Robbins. Get off my fucking back. It was a goofy throwaway joke in a goddamn email. That's all it was. But man, do people find a reason to get seriously upset about nothing. I mean, I just... I weep for everybody, all of us, whatever. So there you go. I just want to make sure you're all legal and you all have your papers. All right. That's because if you don't, please know that the death squads are coming. That's what the death squad in the movie. That's what would happen, right? Because the Mexican death squads would come over the border. They would find some random white guy and go, "Hey, you got your papers, senor?" And he'd go, "No." And then they'd fucking shoot him in the eyes with hot pepper spray, and they'd leave because that's what they have, right? Hot pepper spray because they're Mexican. Look, I don't know anything about those people. I know nothing about Mexicans. The only thing I know is I know that they basically run this state, and I know a lot about their palate. That's all I know. I know Mexican people like lime flavored Fritos, and they like tamarind paste. That's it. That's all I know. Which makes me laugh whenever I see the tamarind paste, like at 7-Eleven or something. I'm like, really? Are children eating this goo? And a tamarind, like what is that? That's like some fruit by the side of the road. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I buy it. Here's nothing, because I like crazy shit, so I'll buy the crazy Mexican snacks. There's nothing I like more than Gansito. Oh, folks, Gansito is delicious. Gansito is a duck who sells me cake. That's who he is. He's a duck that produces cakes. I don't know if he produces them out of his furry little butt, his down-covered butt. I don't know if he has a factory, but Gansito sells me cake. And it's a cake. That's another thing about Mexicans. Like they take our cakes and make them better. That's what they do. It's like they make tamarind spaghetti, which don't think I haven't ordered because I have. Not at a spaghetti place, but in Target when you're leaving, they'll have all their like Mexican candy sitting there, and it's like literally like lime Fritos and chili peanuts and then tamarind spaghetti. It was noodles the consistency of like gummy bears, and it came with a pouch of tamarind paste like sauce, and you put it on there and you ate it like candy spaghetti. Fucking awesome! Just the idea of candy spaghetti is genius. But then and there was hot pepper flakes with it too, like so you could kind of put it on there. So it was like spicy candy but with a tamarind flavor. What a mess! What a torture device! Like that sounds like something our soldiers invented in Iraq to get people to talk. If you guys don't give us the secrets, we've got Mexican candy in the other room. You guys are finished. And these guys are like, "What? We don't know what that is." And we're like, "You don't know what that is? It's fucking candy spaghetti with a hot sauce and tamarind paste." And these people are like, "Jesus Christ, unravel my turban. All the secrets are in there." I don't know. But I buy it. I still buy it, and I try it, and I eat it. And then I realize, holy God, I don't understand the Mexican palate. I don't. I know what they like, I guess, but I don't care for it. I like Mexican food, but I don't like Mexican snacks, except for, Gansito. I love you, Gansito. Karen is so funny. We'll go to Smart and Final because, again, out here, there literally supermarkets are divided. There's half of the United States American stuff, and then there's a half that is all catering to Hispanic people, because this state is literally half and half, if not 60-40 Hispanics. So we can all look forward to fucking tamarind spaghetti on our plates coming up pretty soon. But they have a lot of the buying power. So a lot of when times when you go to the grocery store, they will have their products set up in a certain area. So we'll go to Smart and Final, and I'll tell Karen, I go, hey, I'm going over to Mexico to go shop. So I'll go look around, and I'll try to find something crazy to walk up, like a pig's ear with hot spice on it, whatever the fuck those people eat. I don't know that they ate it. But then I'll stop. Well, literally, we'll be walking, and I'll stop in my tracks, and I'll go, oh, Gansito. And like I said, they take our snacks and make it better. Here's what Gansito is. Gansito is a zinger. You guys know what zingers are, right? And look, I don't like a yellow zinger. I'm not a fan. I don't mind a chocolate zinger, but Jesus, do I love a raspberry coconut zinger. Oh my God, is that great food? That's my childhood in a cellophane bag. Fucking red coconut zingers. Holy God, I'm fat. So Gansito has taken the zinger, the concept of the zinger. All right, this is one smart duck. He has taken the concept of the chocolate zinger, which is a chocolate cake with a chocolate frosting on top and a white cream filling. And Gansito went, you know what would make this much better? Tamarind spaghetti? No, he thought it again. He went, no, that's wrong. He injected jelly inside of the zinger. So it's like a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting and the white filling and a jelly, like jammed in for no reason. That's what I think Gansito means in Spanish. It just means superfluous. That's what it means. Gansito the superfluous duck has jammed jelly into my zinger. That's a sentence no one in the world has ever said, folks, and I just brought it to you. Gansito the superfluous duck has jammed jelly into my zinger. Fuck, if it wasn't so early, I would name the show that just to see your face. I would want to see your face when you looked at your iPod and went, Gansito the superfluous duck has jammed jelly into my zinger? You're goddamn right he has. And yes, it does sound vaguely sexual, as everything does here in Lily's house, but I don't fucking care. Nothing sexual about Gansito, just down-covered deliciousness.
Is it on? It's on? Okay. Hey, it's Parker from Pod Gods on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy on the Mike Schmidt Why would I say that again? No, we have to rewind it. Stupid! We have to rewind it, otherwise...
And now, The 40-Year-Old Boy presents A Tale from the Road.
Late 2003, Los Angeles. A lot of the shows in town are open mics and coffee houses where you'll see comics, but you'll also see poetry people and actors doing character work. I think the strangest confluence I ever saw of all of that was Captain Jack Sparrowhack.
The only people for me are the mad ones. The ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time. Savvy? The ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn. Like fabulous yellow Roman candles, exploding like spiders across the stars. And in the middle, you see the blue center light pop. And everybody goes, ah. Oh, I quite like the sound of that.
When he finished, the finger snaps was like the sound of 1,000 mousetraps going off. Following him wasn't a problem material-wise. The problem was when he split, he took every woman in the place with him. Awful.
This has been A Tale from the Road, from the 40-Year-Old Boy.
Want to let you folks know the show this week is being sponsored by John of www.q-engineer.co.uk. That's right. John is back on board. He was gone. He sponsored a couple of weeks, and then he took some time off. He's like, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. And then he heard that I was in favor of death squads from Mexico, and he said, boom! My company's in favor of death squads from Mexico. That's gonna dovetail nicely into another couple weeks of sponsorship. Boom! So please know that John of www.q-engineer.co.uk is fully on board with the idea of death squads from Mexico coming to Arizona and wreaking havoc. Good for you, John. A lot of business owners won't come out and say anything like that, but I applaud you for coming forward with your pro-death squad stance. What would a pro-death squad stand? What if there was a physical incarnation of the pro-death squad stance? It would just be like a gun and like an OK sign. Hello. All right. So please know that John of www.q-engineer.co.uk is really in favor of death squads from Mexico. All right. So he is sponsoring the show. By the way, if you guys want to sponsor the show, you guys can write me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com and get on board with sponsorship. Here's something that happened. I had a fine listener. He wanted to sponsor the show, and he wrote me. The plans were in motion. Everything was all set, and it was great. He's elaborate. He's like, I want you to do this and da-da-da, and because he had a thing that he wanted me to do, and it was great, and I was all set to sponsor that person. or that person was going to sponsor, and it was this week's show actually, and then unfortunately they could not. They had to write me and change of plans, but I felt so bad because then they wrote me in there just like change of plans, can't do it. Like it was like long elaborate like please I can't wait to do it. I'm like yes, this is great, and then I'm sure they felt awful that they had to change their plans, but luckily the show wasn't in the can because believe me, the last thing I want to do is have to go in and take somebody out after they sponsor. Just like because like if John from www.q-engineer.co.uk had called me and said, hey dude, I really don't want to sponsor, I'd be like, well fuck, I got bad news for you. You're building sperm irrigation systems and sponsoring death squads financially, so that's stuff that's in motion. I can't take that stuff back. That stuff's completely, the second it's out of my mouth, it's in motion. You're building a sperm irrigation system and you're funding death squads from Mexico. Boom. I can't just say no. I can't. That's not an easy fix. It's not like I can make a phone call and get your funding off the table for the death squads. They're counting on that to gas up the SUV as they come crashing over the border and shooting us in the face. Angry email. Dear sir, I can't understand why you would still... Shut up. Those people have been on my mailing list for years. They know that I'm goofing around. But Lily's like, oh, it's a hot button. Everybody's got their hot button issue. I'm like, who has a hot button issue? But then again, I shouldn't talk because I'm guy cuts in front of line at me at the theater, and that's my hot button issue. Ready to punch a guy in the neck. All right. I don't get it. I don't know why people get upset, and I don't understand. The immigration thing. It's like, look, it's far too complex for a podcaster to take apart right now. Although I'm sure there are plenty of podcasters out there that are dealing with it, but I don't. It's like a guy got tased at the Phillies game. Did you see that? Guy got tased at the Phillies games, and everybody's freaking out about this excessive force, and they shouldn't have done that. And it's like, yeah. I get some look. All right, I'm an old man. I'm 42 years old, and I'm a guy who fucks around. And I never want to be in the position where I cost myself a taser. I mean, I've been in a position where it looked like it might happen a few times. But if you don't want bad shit to happen to you, don't do dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that's the bottom line, right? I mean, was it excessive force? Probably. But you know what? And everybody's all biffing. Oh, it's a 17-year-old kid. He shouldn't have to deal with it. You know what, dude? If you call your dad and tell him that you're running on the field, hey, Dad, is it okay if I run out on the field? And if I'm the dad, I just go, hey, look, let me tell you something. If you do, no one knows what's going to happen to you. I can tell you what's going to happen to you when you fucking get home.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be pulling my foot out of your ass for the next fucking 2 weeks. I mean, it's hard enough as a parent to trust your 17-year-old to go out and do anything on his own. But now he's going to make... And I guess it's a credit to their parenting that he decided to call home to see if he should do such a stupid thing. But it's also a discredit to their parenting that you couldn't talk him out of the fucking thing. You got to throw some fucking fear into your kid's heart where he knows that if he jumps over the outfield wall, you're going to fuck him up when he gets home, right? I mean, I wouldn't bail that kid out. Dude, again, there's a story on the internet that I've read, and it to me, if you're ever thinking of doing anything crime-related, if you're going to shoplift a candy bar, if you're going to cut somebody off in traffic and flip them off, if you're going to double park, argue with a cop, anything, there's a story on the internet that I should refer you to, and I think I might have referred to it. It is, to me, it is the worst-case scenario of what can happen to you. There was a guy, he was a war protester in the 60s. Did I talk about this story? I must have. All right. Folks, this is going to be horrible. Let me warn you. But this is the story that keeps me out of jail. This is the story that should keep everybody out of fucking jail. There was a war protester, a guy in the 60s. He was, in the 70s, protesting against Vietnam, whatever the fuck. I don't care. It was a silent protest, and this is when they... Oh, hold on, my right ear's going. Hold on, what's happening? Maybe you know what? My headset does not want me to tell the story. It's that gruesome. It's that gruesome. All right, there we go. Hold on. All right, I can't tell where the bad connection is. All right, folks, I apologize. Again, it's the headphone death squads. They're coming for me. Hey, you know what? www.q-engineer.co.uk. John, why don't you invent me some headphones that don't fucking fry out on me? Do that. Put table the sperm irrigation system. That's not that important. There's money to be made there, certainly. Except when I mention that, then I get people writing me. And by the way, I had 5 people write me about. Oh no, a couple people on my Facebook page and people sent me emails. But 3 of them were women, which cracked me up. They wrote me to tell me, oh, they already have that. It's the Fleshlight. There already is a sperm irrigation system called the Fleshlight. And then there's another one who told me, oh, I was in Europe and they have that. There's a system where it's like a hole in the floor and all fluids are taken out via like a river that runs through all of the. And I'm like, wow. Okay, ladies, I'm glad that you've dropped this knowledge on me. How horrifying. How do women know about the fleshlight for Christ? I mean, I'd expect you to know about it, but I'm a woman.
Thanks.
Well, but I mean, seriously, I don't expect you to own one, but I expect you to know a lot more about it. But these women were like, yeah, the fleshlight. And one woman was like, yeah, my friends like have told me it really works. I'm like, what the hell? Who are your friends? Hey, did you know that I've been fucking this disembodied vagina? It's great. It works perfectly. Oh, Christ. That's not dinner table talk. That's Death Squad talk. I'm rooting for a Death Squad. If I hear that, Death Squad better come in and shoot me right in the fucking head so I forget it. Hey, I've been fucking a disembodied piece of plastic. Did I mention that to you guys? No! No, that's not just inside voice. That's inside everything. Keep it inside yourself. Who's bragging about using a fleshlight? Jesus, fuck. I guess Kevin Smith did it on Smodcast, too. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, they had testimonials and everything like that. Well, it's like, good for them, but that's different than sharing it with your lady friend. Is that what you tell them because you want to sleep with them? Or are you telling them like you're practicing and getting good? I mean, like, I don't know why you would possibly tell a lady that you were banging a fleshlight. Hey, I'm getting good at holding off my orgasm by training myself using a disembodied piece of plastic shaped like a vagina. Good for you. I will still not go to prom with you. Good God. Keep the fleshlight to yourself, man. I mean, I understand times have changed, but that's not something you're fucking bragging about. Says the guy who still carries around a picture of his cock on his phone. What the hell was I talking about before I got into the fleshlight? Oh, the guy who got tased on the fucking field. Man, fuck you, dude. You know, so everybody's all pissed off and they're freaked out about the excessive force.
Tell us about the online store.
Oh, the horrible story. That's what it was. All right, dudes, this story will keep you out of jail. And I'm going to try... I don't know if I'll say the most graphic parts, but suffice to say there's a war protester, and they get gathered up by the police. You know, it's a silent protest, and then that thing where they have to lift them off the ground. You know, when they'll wipe pepper spray in their eyes or whatever. You know, well, this is back in the 60s when they were just cracking heads. Well, these guys were silently protesting, and they went to prison. So they put them all in jail. It was like 40 people. Okay, and they're holding them in the holding cells. So then they OR all of them. They let them all go on their own recognizance because it's like, you know what? You know, we don't have the room in here for you guys. Your point's been made. We've inconvenienced you. You've inconvenienced us. Now go, you know, put flowers in gun barrels. Whatever the fuck you're going to do. I don't know. Go listen to the fucking Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and smoke a bong as tall as your 4-year-old. All right. Whatever the fuck these people had in mind after they took one afternoon off to protest the war. Well, one dude says, no, I'm not leaving. And they're like, dude, you need to leave because it's like we're ORing all of you. There's really no crimes committed. You know, it was disorderly conduct, but we're waiving it all. You guys are free to go. He's like, as a protest, I'm going to continue to stay here because I'm going to prove a point and tell you that I'm going to bring the message that I'm staying in here and getting this anti-war, whatever the fuck. I'm inconvenient. You folks haven't heard the last of me. And so the cops are just like, all right, dude, we're going to transfer you to Gen Pop. So they put him in Gen Pop because he's being a dick, all right? And look, I'm not Captain Law and Order. I'm not like cops should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. But at the same time, cops have a hard fucking job, all right? I recognize that. And I've run into asshole cops. Don't kid yourselves. I've run into asshole bouncers. But some people who get a badge or a nightstick or even just a fucking shirt that says security on it completely abuse the privilege. But that goes to person rather than profession, okay? I don't think all cops are bad. I think there are fucking horrible cops, and believe me, I've fucking run into them. I got pulled over once because I was, some woman called the cops because I was on the freeway, and I got off the same freeway exit. We just happened to be going the same way. I told you this story. I was coming home from Green Bay when I did stand-up, and the cops pulled me over, searched my car, went through my luggage, like pulled me out, fucking did everything, because the woman had called and said that I was following her. And they put me through the fucking ringer. I'm like, dude, I live 2 miles away. Here's my license. But still, 3 cop cars, spotlights, and all that fucking horse shit. One time when I was a little kid, there was a girl in the neighborhood. Did I tell this story? Fuck. All right, whatever. I'm getting off on a tangent, but I'll tell you. This isn't the story that'll keep you out of jail. But when I was in high school, I was 13. I was a freshman. There was a girl in the neighborhood named Rhonda. And she was in 8th grade. Rhonda had a crush on me, okay? And Rhonda was like a tall girl. Like, she was taller than me. She looked older than she was. She was in 8th grade, but she had the mind of an 8th grader. And which gets back to, when I'm sad and I want to cry about people who are, slow. Well, she wasn't slow, but she looked like a woman, All right, but she had the mind of an 8th grader. So she was like that. She wanted to hang out with me. Like I'd go play baseball and she'd hang out and she'd just be there. We'd go play basketball and she'd just go, "Hi, Mike," and kick the dirt and whatever. That stupid thing where you have a crush. So she then wants to come over and like be my friend and hang out more. And finally, I tell her, I go, "Rhonda, look, I don't like you. Okay, you can't stop. You got to stop hanging around by me, okay? Because it's not working, and you're in 8th grade, and that's fine." So I might have been more harsh then. I was 13 years old, but I told her that, look, I don't want to see you anymore. You can't come by anymore. So I'm at my house like a week later, and we had our own phone line. The kids, my mom had her phone line, and then we had our own phone line in the house. So the phone rings, and I answer it. And I just hear someone start laughing. "Ha ha ha, we got you. We finally got you." And I'm like, "What? Who's this?" And they go, "Ha ha ha, we caught you. We finally caught you. That's right. We're calling the police, man." And then the phone hung up. So, I mean, I didn't know what the fuck it was. So I was like, whatever. So about an hour later, knock on the door. It's the cops. And my mom comes to the door, and it's the police. And they were like, "Do you have a son named Michael?" She said, "Yeah." Cops come in. And basically, Rhonda told the police that I had been giving obscene phone calls to her house and harassing her and knocking on her windows and bothering her. And I should tell you this. I'm in the den, all right? When they walk into the foyer of the house, I'm in the den, which is sunken, okay, it's about 4 inches sunken. So the cops are in there with my mom. My mom looks at me and she goes, "Did you do this?" And I said, "No, of course not." And the cops are like, "Well, she says you did, and her mom says that you did." And my mom goes, "Well, what proof do you have that he did this?" And they go, "Well, they said that he did it, so we're here to find out." So basically, they didn't have any fucking proof, all right? It wasn't like they traced a call or anything like that. They said, "Well, she says that you did it, and she said that you've been harassing her, and, she's in 8th grade, pal. We don't know who you think you are." And so the cops start to get really heavy on me. And my mom, because she doesn't fuck around. And my mom goes, "Hey, you need to back off of him. If he says he didn't do it, I believe him. He didn't do it." And so then this cop says, "No, you know what? I think you did do it, all right? And I don't know who you think you are, but you're harassing a girl in 8th grade. That's harassment, and that's a crime. You can be arrested for doing that." And my mom finally goes, "Hey, do you have any proof of this? If you don't have any proof, you need to stop and leave right now." And my mom goes, "Come here, Michael." So when I walk out of the den, I walk out of the sunken den, and I stand up. I'm about 5 inches taller than this cop. Because even as a freshman, I'm like 6'1". And I'm literally, the cop is a shrimp. He's like totally small. And this just emboldens him as I stand over him. And he goes, "You know what? I'll tell you what, big fella." He actually calls me big fella in front of my mom. He goes, "Big fella, I'll tell you, if we find out that it's you that's been harassing an eight-year-old, you're going right to jail. You do understand that, right?" And my mom goes, "Do you know how old he is?" And the cop goes, "What?" And my mom goes, "Do you know how old he is?" And the cop looks at me and he goes, "How old are you, son?" And I go, 13. And you immediately see the other cop like kind of face palm, like, "Oh, Jesus." Because just because I'm a big fucking lummox doesn't mean, because they thought I was a man harassing a girl in 8th grade. Yeah. And that's why they were coming on like stiff pricks and they were all over me. So my mom goes, "He's 13 years old. Unless you have some proof, you need to leave right now." And the one cop who face palmed was like, "We're really sorry. Just, if anything's going on, stay away from this girl because obviously she's got it in for you because they called us." And my mom's like, "That's fine, that's fine." So then the cops leave. My mom closes the door and she looks at me and she goes, "You didn't fucking do that, did you?" And I'm like, "No, because the last thing I'm going to do is put my mom in that position where if I had done it, I'd have to admit it because otherwise my mom looks like an asshole." She goes, "So you didn't do that, did you? You didn't fucking do that, did you?" And I go, "No." And she goes, "All right, stay away from that idiot." My mom walks away. And then I would see Rhonda in the neighborhood, and she'd try to come up to me and talk to me, and I'd just walk away, because I wanted nothing. And she'd be like, I'm sorry," like she wanted to apologize. But again, she's in 8th grade; she doesn't know any better. So there are cops who immediately jump to conclusions and try to bully you and be tough. So anyway, this guy's in prison, and he gets put into Gen Pop. So he's there for like a day. And then these guys come up to him and they go, "Hey, we heard that you were brought in for the war protesting, right?" And this guy says, "Yeah, I was." So the guy goes, "Well, look, we have an anti-war group here in the prison, and we're having a meeting, and we'd like you to speak to the anti-war group if you could. He's like, oh man, I would love that. That's why I'm here. I want to try to get, I'm trying to get pockets of resistance wherever I can. So I want to see if I can get you people on board. He goes, well, we're already on board. It's something that we're very interested in, but we'd like someone who's actually been there on kind of the front lines to come and tell us about it. So he's like, all right, well, where's the meeting? And so they tell him where the meeting is. He's got to be there the next day. So, or no, later that day. It's later that day. So he's in Gen Pop, but he finally goes, and he goes to the meeting, and he goes into this room, and there's about 15 guys. And they're not concerned with anti-war activities. And he says, well, hold on, I'm here for, and they do a lot of horrible things to him. Okay. And this guy tells his story when I read it online. I think I read it. It was actually in a magazine where I read it, like a LA Weekly type of magazine. I was on the road once, and it was one of those free. When you're on the road, you would go into record stores and look for the local free zines, because I'd be killing fucking time and doing nothing. This is before I had a laptop, so I'd find all these free zines and I'd read them. And this guy, it was a story. He's an anti-prison rape activist, and he was relating his story. And so basically these 15 guys jump him. And he graphically tells you what happens. Okay, suffice it to say, they beat his head into the toilet, and they're hitting him with the toilet seat, the toilet tank. They're beating his head off the toilet tank, and hitting him. And then they 15 guys decide to involve themselves in romantic activities with this guy. I don't know about romance. And by the way, this story of prison rape is brought to you by John of www.q-engineer.co.uk. For all of your sperm irrigation, Mexican death squad, and prison rape needs, please contact John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. Many thanks, John. So they involve themselves romantically with this guy, but here's the worst part, okay? Apparently, these are the guys who kind of run the prison type of deal, and the guards... This guy feels the guards were in on it, because why else would he be in this room with 15 different guys and nobody came to help? And how else would they know he was an anti-war guy unless they were to come up to him and find out from somebody else? So he thinks the cops were out to teach him a lesson. So teach him a lesson they did, as these 15 guys not only did what they were going to do, but then they kept this guy. And they passed him along the prison population. For cigarettes, for whatever, and they kept him hidden, okay? People would keep him hidden in cells, like over the course of 3 days this goes on. He feels that he was pretty much raped by the entire prison, okay? He was passed along for whatever. They rented him out, they pimped him out, and traded him out, and kept him. They kept him for 3 days. They passed him along the prison population, till he finally pleaded with them to let him go, because he said he had to go to the bathroom. He's like, please, I'll come back. Just let me. He needed to go to the bathroom. Because he was bleeding. He was hurt and wounded. And finally they said, okay, well, you can go, but you come back. And he ran. And as he ran down the hallway, he collapsed and grabbed a guard and pleaded for help. And then got sent to the infirmary for weeks or whatever. And he was all beaten. And there is something he said, and I'm not going to say it. All right, I'm making an executive decision. I'm making an editorial choice not to say the most horrifying thing that he said. So just to spare you. Because again, I'm always like, I don't care about Two Girls, One Cup. I don't want to see things. There are some things you can't unsee. There's some things that you can't unhear. Okay, so this guy described something, and I'm not going to say it. If you want to know, go ahead and email John at www.q-engineer.co.uk, because I'm sure he knows what it is. No, write me and I'll tell you. But it was the thing that made me go, where it was literally, I got nauseous reading this article. I was nauseous enough reading the beating, because again, he goes graphically into detail about it. But then there's about the aftermath when he talks about it. It's pretty terrible. So, and then he winds up in the infirmary. So that's the story that keeps me out of prison, folks. I mean, because this guy didn't even need to be in prison. He was going to prove a point. I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to be la-di-da, and I'm going to tell you. And so they left him in there. And look, I understand that maybe that doesn't happen to everybody, maybe whatever the fuck. I don't know. All I know is it's like, and I will tell you this though. This guy tells his whole like life story or whatever. So then he gets out of jail after he recovers and all that kind of stuff. This guy winds up back in jail. Like for some vagrancy or some petty theft or something. And I read it, and I got to admit, at that point, all of my empathy for this fucking guy went out the goddamn 4-barred window. Because I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you... I don't even watch a show about jail at that point. I don't sleep on a cot. I don't fucking... Seriously, anything to do with prison, I'm done. I say yes, sir, and no, sir, to everybody the rest of my goddamn life. But he winds up back in prison, and then he offers himself up as a bitch to protect himself. Like that's the whole deal. So he's telling you the horrible part of it, and so that's what he does. He becomes he's in prison a few more times, and he becomes the bitch. Like that's how his way is to survive in prison, dude. So that's the story that keeps me out of prison. I don't even know what led me into that goddamn story, but. Suffice it to say, don't go to jail. So yeah, you know what? If you don't want bad shit to happen to you, don't do bad shit. I have no empathy for the 17-year-old getting zapped with a fucking taser. I don't. Doesn't mean I'm fucking Mr. Pro, strict laws and pro torture or any of that bullshit. I just think if you're going to run on the field and act like a clown, well then don't be fucking surprised because you know what? You're overreacting too, okay, by running around in a zigzag and trying to get attention. You want attention, motherfucker? You're going to get it. Some fat fuck who doesn't feel like chasing you is going to zap you with a taser and then sit on your ass. Done. And you know what? You can't bitch. You put yourself in that situation. You don't want bad shit to happen to you, don't do dumb shit. Seriously. Not enough people are getting tased in this country. It was like the don't tase me bro guy. He's like, don't tase me bro. Well, you're acting like a fucking asshole. If you act like an asshole, expect asshole things to happen to you. If you're acting like an asshole, you're playing asshole poker. Okay? I got news for you. You might be playing asshole poker, and you might be holding 2 pair. The guy with the taser's got a full fucking house, and he's going to out-asshole you constantly. Zap! Don't tase me, bro. Well, then don't do anything to get fucking tasered. Well, he didn't. He was just talking loud and square. Well, then, Ryan, when you've said your piece and they ask you to please quiet down, fucking quiet down, and you won't get zapped with a taser. And everybody comes up with the same example. They're like, how about that pregnant woman who wouldn't sign her ticket and they tased her 3 times because she was going 32 and a 30. Yeah, that cop's an asshole. Okay? But if you don't want to deal with asshole cops, don't do stupid shit. And believe me, I am not saying that cop was in the right. I am not saying going 32 and a 30 is worth getting tased. But you know what? When you say I'm not going to sign my ticket, that cop should walk away. Okay, he's not in the right. He's completely fucking wrong. He's an asshole. He should be fired, if not jailed, for his actions. But you can't be surprised when people that are in positions of authority, when pushed, overreact and abuse that authority. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it fucking happens, and we hear about it all. What's funny to me is people are like, what about when that woman got tased 3 times because she wouldn't sign her ticket when going 32 and a 30? That's completely wrong. Yes. You know who didn't know about that? 17-year-old kid who runs onto a fucking baseball field. Because if he knew that fucking story, he wouldn't be going, well, maybe I ought to go fucking run around and the cops chase me on national television for a while. No, fucko. They have guns. Seriously, I'm completely honest. This is going to sound terrible, but I don't care. If one guy ran out in the field and was like, ha-ha, waving a bat, and he did that thing, because they run out and they do a zigzag and they spin around and they make the cops fall and everybody laughs. If one cop just got on one knee, pulled out a gun and shot that motherfucker right in the head. Right in the head. Banana Republic style. That shit would never happen again. Ever. It might not, because right now the taser was a decent start. Because you know what? That might deter some people from running out onto the goddamn baseball field. Because you know what? It's never fucking funny. You know who thinks it's funny? 9-beer Johnny in the 6th inning who doesn't really like baseball. That's who thinks it's funny. You know who doesn't think it's funny? Everybody there to watch a fucking baseball game. I didn't go there to see a fucking whale go out and fucking belly flop into second base and scare some poor fucking shortstop from the Dominican who has no idea whether he's going to get shivved because he grew up in a Banana Republic, and if he's on the field and he sees somebody running at him, his first instinct is like, fuck, I better grab a machete that my mom uses to chop sugar cane and cut this guy's hands off before he fucking strangles me. You don't know that Wilson Valdez or fucking Juan Castro at shortstop, they grew up in these fucking juntas. They have no idea who's coming at them out of the goddamn stands. Baseball players, they're paid very well, and they're compensated very well for what they do. But think about it, dude. They're standing naked in a room with 50,000 people staring at them. Any one of those people could pull a piece or throw a bottle or a battery or fucking do anything to those guys. So if a guy came right onto the stands and running at me, I don't give a fuck if he's going to burn a flag, Rick Monday style, or if he's going to try to shake my fucking hand. I hope somebody takes him down before he fucking gets to me. And if that means he's got to be tased by fucking on-field security, so fucking be it. And again, it's Philadelphia. Granted, this kid's young, okay? He's 17, but his dad should have educated him. It's fucking Philly. They don't fuck around in Philly. Okay? The only reason they didn't hit him with a nightstick is because they couldn't throw it that far. I'm sure they would have. I'm surprised they didn't have just like two guys in the, you know what? I wish they would have had the two cops drive out on the Philly Fanatics fucking Jazzy, that three-wheeled thing that he drives, with a net, like in the fucking Planet of the Apes, and just scoop that motherfucker up and hang him from the goddamn flagpole. It's fucking Philadelphia. They do not mess around. I've never been there. I just know what I've read and seen. I know that I've been a Philly fan my whole life. In 1980, when the Phillies won the World Series, well, they were a little worried about the on-field celebrations. So literally, folks, with one out in the ninth inning, they lined the field with police dogs. That's not a city that trusts itself. So if you live there, 17 or not, you got to realize if you're going to sprint out into the goddamn field, guess what? You might get fucking sprayed down. That kid's lucky he got tased. Really, when you think about it, he's lucky he got tased. He's real lucky that they didn't, honestly, who knows with that field? Again, it's Philadelphia. They might have rigged it where a fucking bear trap springs out and grabs onto the guy. So fuck you, kid. Next time you think about doing something stupid, pull up your shirt and look at the 3 holes in your back and go, yeah, maybe I should just grow up and have kids. Excessive force, how about effective deterrent? Because believe me, no one will ever run onto a fucking baseball field again. Really, they should just shoot a guy in the fucking head and have his head explode like a goddamn cantaloupe. And then have the fucking infield crew come out with those giant brooms and sweep it up. Because I want to see a fucking baseball game. I don't want to see you doing fucking cartwheels, you fucking hump. Death squads from Mexico. They need death squads from Philadelphia. That's what they need. We need death squads from Philadelphia just driving on the Philly Fanatic leading the charge, all on those 3-wheel vehicles, armed with tasers, and just fucking zapping everybody who fucking gets out of line. We need multiple tasers. We need multi-pronged tasers. We need like a taser trident, like a crazy pitchfork taser. That's what we need. We need someone to invent better and more electrical weapons to fucking deter these people from doing stupid shit. And I got just the guy, John, at www.q-engineer.co.uk. So remember that all of this, John has brought you sperm irrigation systems. He has brought you prison rape. John has brought you death squads from Mexico. And now John is absolutely in favor of tasing 17-year-old boys. These opinions are not my own, folks. These opinions are sponsored by and brought to you by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. So if you have any emails to send, if you're angry in any way, please make sure you write them to John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. I only bring what I'm told to bring, folks. Again, if you sponsor the show, I'm willing to bring any message you want to the forefront. And if you just happen to be a guy who's in favor of prison rape, sperm irrigation systems, Mexican death squads, and tasing teenagers, well, you know what? Everybody's got their price. Write me, and I'll give you mine. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You guys can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. Please remember to use the number 40 in both of those. If you want to go ahead and write our friend Lily Von Stupp, you can go ahead and be her friend at Facebook, Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. Stupp? I said it right. And you can also follow her at Twitter, Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. Or you can follow her at Twitter.com/MNTs. And you can also write her personally, folks, if you want to avoid the harsh public eye. And you were going to get her behind the scenes. Go ahead and send her a note at lily@burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com / 40-year-old boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Tease show every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. Shows at 10 o'clock p.m. They tried at 10 o'clock a.m. Burlesque show. It did not go over. Anybody in a bar at 10 o'clock a.m. they're hardcore drinkers. They do not care about the dancing or the nudity. They're just crawling to the bottom of a bottle and fucking getting a nap. Hey, Lily.
Yes.
Who will be at this Monday's show? Is it a fancy show? Is it a normal show? What's happening?
We have a silent host,
There's a silent host.
Mr. Buddy, and we are very excited because we have the Lady Ms. This is good. We have the Lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins from Atlanta.
Ms. Vagina Jenkins from Atlanta. All right. I think she's in Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, correct?
I don't believe so.
I think she might be. All right. So good. Ms. Vagina Jenkins. I'm glad the Ms. is in there, folks. So she's single. If you want to, that's, you know what? Now, again, I don't mean to disparage. I don't know Ms. Jenkins. Vagina if you're nasty. Oh, it's the lady, Ms. Vagina Jenkins. Again, vagina if you're nasty. You stepped on my joke. Very disappointed. That's okay. But I don't mean to disparage her, but this is a lady?
Yes.
I know she put it in her name, the lady, Ms. Vagina Jenkins. Here's why I ask. That sounds like a drag queen name. I mean, that truly sounds like a drag queen name. And it makes me think it is a drag queen name. But that's why she had to put the lady in there to clarify, I'm the lady one. There's also there's a guy with a cock running around calling himself Miss Vagina Jenkins, but I'm the lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins. And I think, quite frankly, the two of them should team up and fight crime. Because if I'm knocking off a liquor store and two Vagina Jenkins come in, forget about it. They can keep their money. I'm going to leave. I don't want to tangle with Vagina Jenkins, Mr. or Ms. So all right, the lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins will be there, and that's this week. And who else are you hosting? Are you working the door? What are you doing?
I'm actually performing.
Hey, Lily will be dancing. Do you know what number you're doing yet?
I am. I'm doing Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
Always look on the bright side of life, which is we know Eric Idle. Eric Idle invited to my wedding. Did I ever tell that story? My wife invited the Clintons to our wedding. She invited Eric Idle to our wedding because because she met someone who knew Eric Idle, and so she had a tenuous connection, and she invited them, and they both responded. They did not come, but Eric Idle wrote us a nice note telling us he wished us happiness, but he could not come. And the Clintons sent us it's a form thing from the White House, but it was signed by both President and Hillary, saying, you know what, congratulations on your wedding, and we wish we could attend and we can't, and but we do. We got both of those. So yeah, that was fun. How great would it be if Clinton shows up though? I mean, literally, like he and Hillary, he realizes, you know that thing where you crash a party late? Because I had a pretty cool reception. What if fucking I'm out there and we're playing Eclair baseball, and because that's I'll tell you that happened at my reception. I had a great reception. Yeah. We because we had Eclairs, and for some reason we started hitting it because we had baseball bats. Look, when there's booze and baseball bats, something interesting is going to happen, and eventually an innocent pastry is going to get murdered. But how great is it at that party? Because we actually paid the DJ. We were having such a good time. Someone paid the DJ to stay an extra hour and a half. So we kept staying late, and we danced and hung out. And how great is it if Clinton shows in with his tie undone? He's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" How great is that? How many bridesmaids is that guy bang in an hour? Awesome. But yeah, I hope he slips away from Hillary. He's like, because he wanted to come, but she couldn't. She's like, "You're not going to that wedding." She sends everything. He slips away. Oh, how great would it have been? All right. So I don't want to take away from the what we were talking about, which is of course the Monday Night Tease. And what's the code word for the Monday Night Tease this week?
I don't know yet. I
See, the whole point of having a code, we were going to debut it here on the show.
I sent it out on Thursdays. We need to come up with a good code word then. What's a good code word for the lady Miss Vagina Jenkins playing with us?
Wow. You know what?
You could help me create my code word. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
I could. All right, so the lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins.
Should it just be Death Squads?
That's actually funny if you wanted to do it. Because you know why it's funny? Because you had so many people, all the people who come to the show, they don't listen to the show. There might be a handful, but most of them don't. So when you send out the password was Death Squads, they'd just be like, what the fuck? Why? Please make it Death Squads.
Done.
All right, the password for this week is Death Squads. If you guys go to the Monday Night Tease and you come up to the goddamn door, just say Death Squads and you will receive a discount on your admission. God damn, that's awesome. All right, good, because see, that's the thing, is we were going to make it where I was going to reveal the code word on the podcast in addition to you twittering it out. Don't even explain why. when you send out the Twitter, because if you follow her at twitter.com/MNTs, you'll get the password is Death Squads. And don't even explain it. If people are like, what the fuck? Why is it Death Squads? No reason. Just make sure you show up. Or it's because the lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins is on the run. She's originally from Arizona. All right. That's great. All right, so the password is Death Squads. God, I love that. That's fantastic. I have to thank some people for some stuff. I've got to thank, first of all, I have to thank a listener named Willie. I don't want to say Willie's last name, and I don't know his email name. Normally I thank people by their email names, but this person sent me something to my P.O. box, and I went and picked it up. It was like £4. Like I'm going, Jesus Christ. So I opened it up, and he sent me there's a compendium of a comic book graphic novel series called The Walking Dead, and they compiled like issues 1 through 48 into a £4 book, and Willie sent that to me as a nice way of saying he enjoys the podcast. So, dude, thanks. And if any of you out there want to top that, go ahead and write me, and I'll get you the P.O. box if you're interested. And even if you don't want to top it, if you want to send me a card or something nice, South Philly Paul sends me stuff and all that. So South Philly Paul sent me a Spider-Man comic book and a ransom note. And I'm not even kidding, a ransom note, like where he cut out letters. And it said, if you don't ever mention the South Philly Paulcast ever again, or I will have to do something drastic. Please do not mention, of course, Ivy wants me to mention it. And I played right into his goddamn hands. I showed that I am easily bribed by Spider-Man comic books and Rick Springfield lyrics because I plugged this guy more than fucking anybody. Terrible. But again, he's from Philly. So, maybe he knows, what if he was his kid? What if it was his kid who ran out in the field and got taken? I don't think so. Because I think if Paul's really from Philly, he would have fucking known that you do not do that. And he would have told the kid, absolutely not. Because he remembers the fucking riot dogs at the vet. All right. So I want to thank Willie for sending me the book. And it's funny. It's literally a £4 book. I'm halfway done with it. I got it Saturday. I can't stop reading it. Like I sat down and just started blazing through it because I read pretty quick anyway. And it's so sad. I have a litany of books to read, like a pile and piles and piles, a full library. What? Go ahead. You can't even talk about laughing. What?
Can you tell us how many pounds per minute you can read?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll do some calculations on that. Definitely. But I'm blazing through it, and it's so funny. There's this bleak life, these people and zombies. I love zombies, and it's the slow zombies. It's not the fast zombies. Yeah. So, but I like it. So it's good. Thank you, Willie, for sending the book, and I'm about halfway done with it. So once I'm finished, I'll tell you. I'll sign it and give it to a listener. No, I won't. That'd be rude. And again, I want to tell you guys, make sure you go to the Westside 86 Jokers page and go ahead and join the Mike Schmidt fan page. I wrote Adam, who is one of the guys, if not the organizer, certainly one of the organizers, if not the main guy. And he heard me talking. I mentioned this, that he heard me talking about changing the name. And I wrote him saying, I don't think I'm going to change the name, but I'm not sure. I'll get back to you. He never wrote me back. So I don't know if he might have bailed on the whole enterprise. I have no idea, and I can't blame him. Now, this will bring me to the one-man show. Folks, you remember that there's going to be a one-man show. Mike Schmidt is going to be performing all over. I'm talking to a theater here in Los Angeles about going up and doing it here as well, and then I'd love to take it on the road and do it in some places, but I'm definitely doing it in San Francisco, August 20th and 21st, at, I believe, the Dark Room Theater. Tickets are not on sale yet, but the shows are at 10 o'clock both nights. And people, like I said, have asked about taking photos or meeting me or whatever. Of course, I'm happy to do any and all of that. Now, I've told you folks that you'll be coming along for the ride and being involved in the creation of the one-man show. It would have been a lot easier if the website was up and running because there was going to be a lot of stuff where I would have just been kind of posting progress reports on there. But I guess I don't mind doing it once a week to you guys here. But if and when the website gets up and running, we'll have more stuff on there. And but I wanted to do this, folks. I'm going to throw it out to you. It's not a contest, really, because I'm not giving anything away. I don't think, unless it to be, tickets to the show itself. But I've narrowed it down to 3 names for the one-man show, and I'm going to put them to you and let you guys vote and tell me what you think the name of the one-man show should be. You can vote on my Facebook page. There will not be a poll. I will not be setting up, unless somebody wants to do that, that's fine. But please know I'll be getting input from emails, personal emails, from Facebook, from Twitter, and even on MySpace if some random slug wants to send me something from there, because I can't bring myself to close down the page because I feel bad for MySpace. But there's 3 names that I've chosen, and I want you to decide which one is going to be the name of the one-man show, and I will give them to you right now, folks. Get a pen. Do you have a pen? I hope you have a pen. I have a pen. Here's the name of the show. The show will be called The 40-Year-Old Boy. We all know that. It's going to be called The 40-Year-Old Boy, but what I was deciding on was the subtitle, the title that is like, The 40-Year-Old Boy, blank, he's a real jerk. Like that second title.
Vote.
He's a real jerk. You're in on that one?
Done.
All right. Lily picks that one. She picks he's a real jerk. I've joked that before that it was going to be called the 40-Year-Old Boy Postponed. I've joked all these different names. But here are the three names that I've narrowed it down to, and you guys can go ahead and let me know what you think, and then we'll decide we'll see what the winner's going to be. First one is The 40-Year-Old Boy, Tall Tales, Short Fuse. That's one name. Then the second name is The 40-Year-Old Boy, Success is Not an Option. And then the third choice is The 40-Year-Old Boy, A Life, Wasted. So I will put it to you folks. I will let you vote on what it's going to be. It's going to be The 40-Year-Old Boy. He's a real jerk. That's out. No, that was. I'm not putting that in there. You can vote for it, but I'm not. Your feedback will not count. But yeah, it's The 40-Year-Old Boy, Tall Tales, Short Fuse. The 40-Year-Old Boy, Success is Not an Option, and The 40-Year-Old Boy, A Life, Wasted. So go ahead and vote via Facebook, via Twitter. You can write me in emails. And this is going to go on for 2 weeks. And I will announce 2 weeks from now on the show because Bucky said that he needed a title by the 20th. So this just happened to work out perfectly because the 20th is a Thursday. So this week we will take votes, and then next week again I'll reinstate. I'll reset the choices, and we can all vote again for that week. And then the following week is when I will announce the show and let you know what it's going to be. So go ahead and get involved, folks. Again, I wanted you to come along. Go ahead and cast your votes, and let's hear exactly what's happening. So again, the three choices are... No, I'm not going to do it again. You rewind it. You want to hear the three choices again? Go ahead and fucking rewind it, and then you'll know what they are. Man, I tell you this. I am, I need help. You guys need to help me because I want to eat the Double Down sandwich, and I want to eat the new Domino's pizza. I don't know why. I know they're going to be bad. I know they are. But for some reason, my fat brain keeps going, because they're tricking me. They're using their advertising to trick me into thinking that I want to bite those things. Like, because the Domino's pizza is like, new recipe and new this and garlic buttery crust. And dude, it's still fucking Domino's shit pizza. I know it is. I absolutely know it is. But yet in my brain, I'm like, hey, maybe I should give that new Domino's a try. No, I shouldn't. I've grown up. I'm over 40. I should never eat Domino's pizza again as long as I fucking live. That's road pizza. That's what you order in a hotel late at night. That's stoner pizza. It's all it is. It's stoner food. But they're tricking me with their fucking crafty commercials where they send their chef out to people's houses. Oh, if he comes to my house, I'll try it. I'll tell you that. I'll throw that out to Domino's. If you send two chefs in a fucking Mini Cooper out to my house with your pizza, I'll fucking try it. But I can't order it, right? And the Double Down sandwich, it's like, the 2 pieces of chicken with bacon inside, like that sounds okay, but then it's got cheese and sauce. I'm not a sauce guy. I'm not a cheese guy. Like maybe if they, if they had 2 pieces of chicken with a piece of chicken in the middle, then I'd be on board with that sandwich. A triple threat. Fuck your Double Down. I want a triple threat. Maybe I order that. Maybe I go there and I go, you know what? Hold the cheese, the bacon, and the sauce, and just slam another piece of fucking chicken right in the center of that goddamn sandwich. You know what? If that would work, because you could get 2 pieces of breaded chicken with a grilled chicken inside, in the middle, or 2 pieces of grilled with a breaded inside. That makes it different. That's your fucking triple threat. Scrape off the cheese, cut out the bacon, get rid of the fucking sausage, jam another piece of fucking chicken in that sandwich, and boom. Triple threat sandwich. Why do I spit out this random bullshit that nobody fucking cares about? I am peddling obscenity. I am going to get a whole fucking army of you people, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to me and then do nothing for an entire fucking week. I can't be trusted. Don't you people know this? It was like the Back to the Future of suck. I don't want to have a boner in somebody else's pants. I need to shoot up heroin and jog. Hey, ass fuck, are you listening to anything that I'm saying to you? Fuck, somebody's got to shut that old guy up. And I'm like, fuck you! I'm not a potato! I'm a goddamn cantaloupe! Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.